Chairman. As we know, the Castro regime is and always has been a supporter, a facilitator of terrorism. It has a long history of proliferation activities, has actively sought to undermine the U.S. and our interests by any means possible. For decades, the Castros have harbored fugitives from U.S. justice, including convicted cop killer Joanne Chesimard, as Congressman Sears always reminds us, and he has a vast and sophisticated intelligence network operating against the United States. And the Castro brothers also have a well-documented, deep-rooted connection to rogue regimes like Iran and North Korea, united in a mutual hatred for the United States. As we have been talking about, days after the seizure of this North Korean flagged ship, the Cuban authorities released a statement claiming that they were obsolete defensive weapons sent to North Korea for repair, only to be returned to Cuba. But as you've pointed out, it's obvious they were lying to the international community to hide the fact that the final destination was North Africa in violation of UN sanctions. The Castro regime is desperate to keep its propaganda machine running and its hold on power. And Kim Jong-un and the North Korean regime will stop at nothing to continue its illicit activities. So I ask you, what should the U.S. government be doing to support allies in the region, like Panama, for their security and their law enforcement efforts? Also, what penalties do you think the international community should impose on Cuba for these activities, in addition to the bans we have in place? And despite these blatant violations of UN sanctions, this administration continues efforts to normalize relations with Cuba, moving forward with talks regarding migration and direct mail services in the middle of what has been going on. What message do you think it sends to our commitment to regional security, to move ahead with talks with the regime, despite this blatant violation of international law like the one involving the North Korean ship? Anyone who'd like to take a stab? Thank you, Ms. Werlau.
Well, thank you, Congresswoman. I'm really not prepared to answer such a big question. All I can say is that the people who understand the criminal nature of this regime should inform others, and it's the responsibility of our government. There's more than 50 years, 55 years of history there, including the murder of American citizens, citizens of other countries, subversion, terrorism, I think thousands of deaths worldwide caused by this regime. And it's important that we don't get confused by the message. The Cubans are extremely able.
And I will interrupt you there because you bring out an important fact, and then I'll yield back. We let the Castro regime get away with the murder of 4 innocent pilots, of Brothers to the Rescue, in the shoot down of their 2 aircraft over international airspace. 3 American citizens, 1 U.S. resident. And what price did the Castro brothers pay for their crime? They signed a bill into law, the administration at the time, that they have yet to put into action. That was it. That was the penalty that they paid. So we let that problem go unanswered. And now we have another horrible example of a violation of international law, and we're about to let them off the hook yet again. No wonder they continue to do their espionage and dangerous activities against the U.S. We are willing to look the other way because it's just, to act would be inconvenient.
Yes, may I add, Mr. Chairman, to that? It's very frustrating when you're doing human rights documentation and getting the reports from Cuba, where they're using surgical repression to exterminate the opposition, assaulting women, children. I mean, this is a regime that has massacred children.
The tugboat, 13th of March, where they put high-pressure water cannons against people, killing dozens of them for the crime of trying to leave the hellhole that is the Castro regime's Cuba.
And that is just one. And what we're getting in our news reports are reports about old cars, mojitos.
Oh, yes.
And Raul Castro's reforms.
It's an interesting place, isn't it?
Yes, I mean, it's very
And
frustrating.
if you're a media outlet and you report on the human rights violations instead of reporting on the cute 1950s cars, then you get your license taken away. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.